Hi everybody, this is Catherine from In the Pink Designs. How are you today? I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so whatever I use you can purchase from Stampin' Up! Through me, and the link is below, and it's also at the top of the screen is the address. Alright, today my project is a rectangle nesting box that opens and closes like this. We have the cardstock on the bottom and the DSP at the top, and inside are a pair of little kids' sunglasses, which I thought really went nice with the You've Got Style and the bug. But you can always switch this up to an Easter theme and put candies in or other treats or gifts. So let me just tell you how long this is. I always forget to write that down. This is 5.5 by 2.5 by 1 1/4 on this edge here. Alrighty, and I used the Euro Peach Designer Series paper, which was in last year's annual catalog, which is still active now, but the new catalog comes out in May, I believe, and I'm gonna get a look at it, I think at the end of March. And then April 1st I can start showing you things. But this set, driving by, is a celebration set, and you only have 4 days. It's the 24th, so you only have till the 28th to order. It's free with any $50 purchase. I also used this woven ribbon, which is 1/2 inch. It's Pale Papaya. This is in the annual catalog, so I'm not sure if these will be carrying over or not. Sometimes they do. And also the layering circle dies. Alrighty, so let me show you what we need for this project. Alright, we need a scalloped circle out of Calypso coral cardstock, and we're going to get a round circle out of basic white after we stamp the sentiment on it. We need scraps of basic white for stamping, and the actual box is made of 2 pieces. We need a piece of Calypso coral cardstock that is 8 by 6 3/4, and a piece of Euro Peach DSP that is 8 by 5 3/4. So there's an inch difference, so that the bottom shows. I thought that was a pretty way to do it. Alright, so now when we score them, they're both going to get scored at the same dimensions, okay, even though this one's an inch shorter, because they're the same box, just a little bit shorter, and it's kind of like 2 bottoms. And we just put this together when we put it on the cardstock so that it's tight, but it will still move on there, and it won't fall off. Alrighty. Alright, let me get my Simply Scored. And we're going to start with the cardstock first. So 8 by 6 3/4, and you're going to start on the 8-inch side. And we're going to score at 1/2, 3, 4 1/4, and 6 3/4. And these measurements will be on my blog, which is linked below. I'm going to turn it to the 6 3/4 side, and we're going to score at 1 1/4. Alright, and that's the cardstock piece. Now the piece that is 8 by 5 3/4. We're going to start on the 8-inch side again, and again we're going to score at 1/2, 3, 4 1/4, and 6 3/4. Alright, we're going to turn it to the 5 3/4 side and score at 1 1/4. So it's the same exact scoring on both pieces. Alright, now I'm going to fold and burnish. And just remember that there's only 4 more days till Celebration ends. Everything in the Celebration catalog will be retired, and the joining bonus of 2 extra stamp sets when you join will be done. So if you wanted to do any of those things, the next 4 days is the last time you have a chance. And I'm just gonna fold and burnish this, but I'm not gonna press as hard as I do on the cardstock because I don't want anything to rip. It's not as thick, obviously. Alrighty. Okay, so let's start again with the cardstock. And this is the cardstock. Now they both look the same, it's just this, the DSP is just an inch shorter. Alrighty, so this is what it should look like on the cardstock. Alrighty, so the skinny rectangle is on the left hand side, and there's an 1.25 inches on the bottom and on the right hand side. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to get my scissors. We're going to start where the skinny rectangle is on the left, and we're going to get rid of this lower rectangle right here and wedge up a little bit into the piece above it. Alrighty. Alrighty. Then we're going to go to the other side of this rectangle and cut it straight to the first score line. Skip the square and cut the other rectangle side straight, and then we're going to wedge a little piece out of each side of the square. Those little bits kind of make it look a little bit unfinished, so I'm going to try to get them off. Alrighty. Okay. Go to the other side of this rectangle and cut it straight to the first score line, and then wedge both sides of this square. Alright, and that's it. Okay, so that's it for the cardstock. And for the DSP, same thing. Skinny rectangle on the left, and there's 1 1/4 on the bottom and the right hand side. And it's cut the same exact way. Alrighty. So we're going to start over on the left where the skinny rectangle is, and we're going to get rid of this one at the bottom and wedge above it. Cut the side of this rectangle straight. Everything else is up into the first score line. Skip the square. Cut these other rectangle sides straight, and then wedge both sides of your square. Okay. Go to the other side of this rectangle, cut to the first score line, and then wedge each side of this square. And I did forget, you want to follow on the other side, you want to follow up your skinny rectangle and just wedge a little bit down on the top of both of these. I forgot. Alright. So these are what your cardstock and your DSP should look like after you're done scoring and cutting. Alright, we're going to start by putting together our cardstock. And we're going to get our tear and tape, and we're going to put it on the skinny rectangle next to the score line. Okay. And then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to take the backing off. I'm going to turn it over, turn the side with the tape, and put the other side over to meet it. Okay, now this is the back here. So we're going to put the sides in and the back, and this is where we want to put the rest of our tear and tape. One has to go close to the edge, and you can put another one for good measure if you want to. And take the backings off. And then just make sure that it's nice and square. And you can, and that's your box. Okay, the bottom of your box. All right, now for this piece, what I want you to do is put tear and tape on the skinny rectangle, but you're going to back off just a little bit. Alrighty, so leave about 1/16 of an inch between the score line and your tear and tape, if you can. Alright, and take the backing off. And what we're going to do, this is going to be upside down in comparison to the cardstock. All right, so just wrap it around your cardstock and fold it. Okay, and we just want it to be, we want it to be on there right, but we don't want it to be too tight. Alrighty, so we're just gonna, it's gonna have just a little bit of the skinny rectangle showing, and that's okay on the side, because then it'll be easier to open and close the whole thing. Alright, now you can take it off. You see how this goes easy. You just have to put in one side first, and then the other side. Oops. There we go. But it's on there nice and tight. Alrighty. It's not, I was gonna leave a little, like about a 1/16 of an inch, but since this isn't a square, it's hard to do that. You know, you're scoring all these weird numbers, so I just did it like this. It might bow a little bit right here, but I think it's really cute. It won't if you put more. This isn't exactly full. All right. Now, this is our back. We're going to put the sides in and the back, and this is where we're going to put the rest of our tear and tape. Now, there's not as much pressure on the top, so you should only really need to put one at the edge. Right, and just make sure that it's nice and squared. And there you go. And then just put it on your box. And it fits really nicely. Okay. And the sunglasses will fit in. We'll put them in this one again. But of course, there's lots of other things you could put in here. You could change it to Easter and put all sorts of Easter treats. I think, let me see if a gift card will fit. Let's see. Yeah, a gift card will fit in there perfectly, and then you can put some candies or just some grass in there. All right. Put this one back together. And the more you put it together and off, the easier it's going to be. Okay, now, all right, so let that sit a minute, and we're going to do some stamping. So we need our basic white, and first I'm going to do the sentiment and some Tuxedo Black Ink, and it's You've Got Style, and I'm just going to stamp it because I'm not good at stamping cling. Right there, I got a little bit. I've been rocking them lately. I don't know why. Great. All right, and now I'm going to take this circle from the layering circle dies, and after I cut it out, I'll tell you. I'm just going to put the sentiment as far down as I can get it in the circle. And then I'm just going to put some low tack tape, and I'm going to cut it out, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm just going to gently peel this off. Okay. All right, and this is 2 1/8. Okay, it's the one that cuts out 2 1/8 from the layering circle dies, and sometimes I get a little bit of that low tack tape, leaves a little piece of something there, so I'll just take it off with a gum eraser. All right, now we're going to stamp our little bug. Now this has presents on top. I just cut them off. Now you could stamp it right on here if you don't want to fussy cut it, but you have to make sure that you don't get the top image on it of the presents. All right, I'm going to stamp this again in Tuxedo Black Ink. Okay. All right, and we need, let's start with light, we're going to use light and dark Pale Papaya. And the light I'm going to use for the bumpers. Okay, and the dark I'm going to use for the rest of the body of the car. Okay, then I'm going to use light Pool Party for the windows. Okay, I'm going to use light Smokey Slate for the these are the bumpers. This is like that bottom part of the car. I'm not sure what that's called now. I called it a bumper, but I don't know what that is. Like the bottom trim. I'll say trim. That's good. Okay, and then the hubcaps. Okay, and then I also forgot in Pool Party, I just did the little bit of the headlight and then the tail light, but I don't think you're really going to see the tail light there. Or maybe that's the latch on the engine trunk. I don't remember now. I remember my brother had 2 of these when I was in the 70s, and I was like 5. And he had 2 of them, and they were both the same color for some reason, but he made one good car out of them. Ours, I remember having to push in the clutch, and I was happy to do it as a little kid. He's 11 years older than me, so that's a really great memory. Okay, so now we're going to use dark Smokey Slate for the tires. And then I'm just going to fussy cut it out. Okay. And again, you don't have to worry about doing it perfectly because it's going to be going on a white piece. All right, so none of the extra pieces that you didn't get off are going to show. Alrighty. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I'm just going to put 2 on there. I'm just going to put it a little bit above the sentiment. There we go. Alrighty. And then I'm going to bring in the Calypso Coral Scalloped circle, and I'm going to glue it on with liquid glue. Okay, and then I'm just going to let this sit a minute. Alright, now for our box here, I'm going to take the Pale Papaya 1/2-inch woven ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a bow right around here, about 1 inch down, but you can put it wherever you like. And you don't want you want to make it firm, but you don't want to squeeze it too tight, because it will make it harder to open if you really pinch it. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim them to be about the same. Good. Alright, and get it where you want it. And then I'm going to take a glue dot. I might take your pick tool, and I'm going to just put it behind the knot, just so that it kind of stays in the same area. Okay. And then it won't slide down on your embellishment there. Alright, and then I'm going to get some more dimensionals and put them on the back of our VW Bug, which I guess it's not, you can't really say that because it's not trademarked, but that's what it looks like to me. Yes, I was alive when they had VW Bugs. And then I'm just going to put this halfway between the bottom of the bow and the bottom of the box. Alrighty. Okay, and for my final touch, I'm going to be putting on some Pale Papaya gems that are from the 2021 to 2023 in colors. Alright, and I'm going to put one here. I'm trying to use up this first before I use up the ones on the card. And then one over here. And I'm going to use another big one. One about right here. Okay, and that's it. I just love this project today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. And I always read my comments and I try to respond. And if you I also have my email below linked. The link to my blog with all the measurements is below. And the link to join if you'd like to join my team. Thank you so much for watching. And please subscribe and hit the like button. Have a great day. Bye.